Hi. Welcome to Movies Reflexed. Today, I am going to explain a Netflix original American-French sci-fi thriller movie titled Oxygen. Watch out for spoilers. Take care. The movie starts while showing a white mouse, which is trapped in a puzzle. It is trying to escape from there. Then the scene turns from here. Now, a girl is seen in a chamber. Her body was covered with many devices. She was extremely shocked to see this. She begins to remove the devices from her body. Then, the system announces a warning. That system has detected error, and there was only 35% oxygen left. The girl lying in the chamber feels as she is in a hospital. And the amount of oxygen level in the hospital has reduced. Then she begins to worry, thinking where she has come. What is the matter with me? The girl starts shouting. It asks the system, who am I? How did I come here? Can you please tell me my name? System calls her with a mysterious name. And it is not a real name. Now, the girl asks, can you show me how I look? Then system shows her image, and she starts to visualize here. She visualizes some rats. She gets worried. Because she was not understanding anything. Whether she is bound in a hospital or somewhere else. She begins to ask from the system. The system announces, I cannot reveal as such. Then the girl says, let me go outside. Then that system tells her, speak out your code. But how would that girl know? Then she hits upon a plan. It is carrying out what I am commanding it to do. So why don't I make call to the police with it? And she makes the system call the police. System calls the police, then she begins to talk with the officer. She says, I am bound somewhere. I don't know, either it's a hospital or another place. But yes, I am bound in a chamber. She also tells them the number of her chamber. But the police officer was not getting the point. That girl says to the police, just detect my location while tracking my call. And with it, the call is disconnected. That girl commands the system, check my DNA and tell me if it matches with someone else. Then the system announces, yeah, it is matching. It displays a girl who was looking exactly like her, and her name was Elizabeth. So, it means that her name was also Elizabeth. No one knows what happened to her, and she got stuck here. Then, police call is received, and they ask Elizabeth, are you bound in a chamber? Is there oxygen? Then police asks about the amount of oxygen level. The chamber system announces that there is only 31% amount of oxygen is left. That may be maintained only for an hour or half an hour. But if Elizabeth continues to feel panicked, then it is not sure whether she could spend here even an hour. Then the police says to Elizabeth, just detect the owner of the chamber and find out who he is. There may be statement of the name of whoever owns the chamber. But it is not. The system announces to Elizabeth, there has been not enough oxygen remained, and you have a very short time. So, shall I kill you now? Elizabeth forbids to do this. And she commands it, search out more information about me. Then she comes to know that she is a physician, and she had conducted an experiment in the chamber where she is bound today. It was part of her experiment and she had bound herself in it. But she doesn't know any code or anything else. Then Elizabeth commands the system, open my social media account. There, she finds a photo of her standing with her husband. She commands the system, try to contact with my husband's number. System carries out the order. A lady picks up the call as the phone is connected. Elizabeth tells her, let me talk to my husband. Then, that lady gets angry and says to Elizabeth, never try to call this number again. Elizabeth is infuriated and she tries to unlock that chamber in spite of anger. But it was not unlocking. Then she scratches it with her nail. So it may open. But it also didn't had any effect on the chamber. Then she encounters a rat in her vision again. She gets scared. She encourages herself saying, now is not the time to be afraid. I know, it is my hallucination. Because I am in a state of fear. Then she starts to unlock the chamber with a syringe. But nothing is happening. And then she receives a call from the police. Police officer says to Elizabeth, your mother used to live with you. Elizabeth tells, no, I lived with my husband. I have also called him, but he is not picking up. A lady is talking in his place. Then the policeman says, you are thinking wrong. It is only your hallucination. Then, when she casts a glance of her photos again, there wasn't her husband with her in the photos. So, it is proves that, truly it was her hallucination. Then policeman tells Elizabeth the name of her mother. Elizabeth says, "No, that is not my mother's name." Then she hears that policeman is also conversing with another person. As someone is forcing him to deliver the wrong information to Elizabeth. Then the call is disconnected, and she receives another call from someone else. But ignoring that call, Elizabeth commands the system, "Please call the police station. I want to listen with whom he is talking to." Elizabeth believes after hearing the call that someone is definitely forcing the policeman to mislead Elizabeth. It may be possible that I am not being able to get out from here because of the. Then Elizabeth begins to hallucinate in which she encounters her husband. It is unknown that whether it was just a hallucination or the reality. Anyway, she is looking weaker. And Elizabeth is really upset. Then she receives a call again and again, and that call belonged to that lady who had received the call before. And she had forbidden Elizabeth to call. She says to Elizabeth, "Your husband is no more." Elizabeth says to her, "No, you are telling a lie." Then that lady declares, "No, I am speaking the truth. And I also know about the chamber you are in now. And I am also aware of the code to open it." Elizabeth tells her, "Tell me that code." That lady reveals the code to her. Elizabeth immediately tries to use the code. The lady tells her, "Stop, don't use it, due to this, your life will be at a greater risk." Then Elizabeth asks her, "Why should I trust you?" That lady says, "Because you are in space now. You have been sent in this unit in the space for a mission. But moving upwards, its system shows some errors. And you were set to the hibernation mod. You yourself have no awareness for how much time you spent in sleeping. You also take a very low amount of oxygen. But now, you are using the oxygen much more as you have woken up. The amount of your oxygen level is also reducing very fast due to this. You will be lost if you open this camera. Because there is zero gravity here. No one will be able to rescue you. I can set you on the hibernation mod if you yourself want it. You will forget everything and will not recall anything. You will know nothing." Elizabeth asks that lady, "For which mission had I been sent out for?" Then that lady says, "The world was going to be destroyed within a few years. And we chose you because you were strong. And you may find a reasonable place to migrate, going to the space. Where the human beings may survive. Because the world was not going to remain suitable to live. But system got out of order moving upwards. And we had to put you in hibernation mod." Elizabeth tells her, "It's all right, I will also believe you in this matter. But, what the case with that policeman? Why was he telling lies with me? I know that he was talking with me as such after being threatened by someone." That lady says, "You are thinking it right. Because everyone knows that there is no way to save your life. And they were consuming the time and conversation, so your amount of oxygen level may reduce as soon as possible. It may end soon, and you are dead. Otherwise, we have no remedy except it." Here, Elizabeth is grieved. That lady says to her, "Don't be sad. If you really want to arrive at the miracle, then move to the hibernation mode. Otherwise, your oxygen level will end, and you will die. So, do what I am saying." Elizabeth then says, "Okay, tell me how to move to hibernation." Then the lady is going to reveal the way, then some people come to her house and seize her. She instructs Elizabeth, "Just move to hibernation mode when the oxygen level hits 2%. Remember, you will die if the level remains lower than this." Here, Elizabeth attempts to recall this. How did it happen? I may remember something, but she is unable to remember anything. She then tries to override the system so that she could gain her memory back with an electric shock. Then she starts to see some visions as she is seated along with her husband, who is really dead after the spread of a deadly virus around the globe. He was no more. Her husband is saying to her in fantasy, "We will meet again." Then Elizabeth says, "I will die. So it's better to talk with my mother." Then she commands the system to contact her mother. Elizabeth talked to her mother fully. Afterwards, she commands the system, "Is there only my chamber? Am I the only one who is in space?" Then the system announces, "No, there are also another 10,000 chambers except yours. Then Elizabeth asks, why can't I see them? It relates that there is a shield on the glass. Elizabeth is frightened as it uncovers the shield. Because there is a dead body outside, and it was floating in the space. And there are also many chambers in her surroundings. She sees a vision that her husband is also in one of these chambers. Then, commanding the system, she takes a glimpse at her husband's chamber. And she gets excited as she casts a glance at the face of her husband. The hope for life is reawakened in her. Then Elizabeth sees some visions again. This time, it was actually her real memory. It was from the past. Some experiments were being conducted on the rats by putting them into a puzzle. Which rat is more intelligent? In case of succeeding this puzzle by any rat, its DNA and memories were transferred into another rat. And it was checked whether that other rat could also cross the puzzle. The subject rat that was used to cross the puzzle for the first time. And these experiments were being conducted by Elizabeth, who had grown old in the actual world. And the lady who was contacting with Elizabeth was Elizabeth herself. And the Elizabeth who is now in space is actually just a clone of Elizabeth. Here the same experiments conducted which had been done with the rats. As the memory of one rat is transferred into another rat. In the same way, the memory of the real Elizabeth was transferred into the clone of her. And all the people in the space are clone. Here, Elizabeth notices that her oxygen level has reduced to 3%. Then, Elizabeth remembers the instructions of that lady and commands the system, set me up to the hibernation mode. Systems declares that you have removed all the devices on you. Now, it is impossible. Elizabeth begins to set the devices with her. But it is too late to set the devices with her body. Because 2% oxygen was required for going to hibernation mode. But now, her chamber had a little over 0% amount of the oxygen level. And it was way too low. Then Elizabeth is frightened. She knew that she was going to die. She records a voice message for her husband. So that he may hear it as he comes out of the hibernation. And she closes her eyes saying goodbye. Then, she hits upon a plan, and she asks the system, the people who died in the space, their chambers are empty now, their chambers might have oxygen. Then system announces, yeah, absolutely. Elizabeth asks, can their oxygen transfer into my chamber? The system declares, yeah, sure. Why not? All systems of the chambers are similar, so there will be no difficulties to transfer oxygen. But many days are required for it. So you will have to go into hibernation mode. Then Elizabeth is extremely excited and says, okay, I try, kindly transfer the oxygen till then. Then, it is seen that the oxygen has transferred into that chamber. Elizabeth is also in hibernation. When Elizabeth wakes up after many years, then she is on the same planet along with her husband. For which she had come to space from the Earth. And with it the movie ends here. If you enjoyed this video, then please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.